So I recently sold off my 70-200 F2.8 after several years of use and switched over to the F4 version. So in this video, I'm going to break down why I made the switch and why the F4 version might be the better choice for you too. So I've got 4 main reasons why I decided to make the switch. And later on in the video, I'm going to touch on a common trap that photographers tend to fall into when it comes to gear, including myself. So let's get into it. Reason 1 is weight and portability. The F4 version is just so much smaller and lighter. Even though the 2.8 version, the original one that is, isn't that huge for a Pro 2.8 zoom, it was still bulky enough that I often found myself leaving it at home, especially for travel or even those just in case shoots where I just couldn't really justify bringing it along because of the extra size and weight that it took up in my bag, especially if I thought I might not end up using it. But with the F4 version, I actually bring it with me and use it so much more often now, and it fits more comfortably in my backpack, even my smaller bags, and it feels better in the hand and it handles nicer, and it's just so much more balanced on both my R5 Mark II or even my smaller Canon R8. It's more discreet as well, which again is great for travel. It's easier to pack, and in general, I just find myself using it so much more often because of that. And at the end of the day, there's no point having the best gear if it just gets left at home. Reason number 2 is rendering. Overall, the rendering and colors from this F4 version is just fantastic. I love the images from this lens. And honestly, the difference in look between the 2.8 and F4 version isn't as dramatic as you might think, especially at the longer focal lengths. At 135mm or 200mm, F4 still gives you plenty of background separation. For portraits, it's just more than enough to isolate a subject and gives you tons of background blur as well. I actually did a side-by-side comparison with the 2.8 version, and that's when it really clicked for me. Yes, the 2.8 definitely has more of a prime look, I guess, but in real-world use, the difference wasn't worth the trade-offs for me, and any differences weren't really that perceivable when you're not looking at images side by side. Overall, images from the F4 version are beautiful. They've got great color, great contrast, really nice rendering, and I fall more and more in love with the images from this lens the more that I use it, whether that's for distant landscapes or portraits. Next up, sharpness and performance. This F4 version is crazy sharp, even on my R5 Mark II. Skin texture and eyes are all tack sharp, and for travel shots, that detail means that you can crop in without having to worry about losing detail. It really makes fine detail in landscape shots pop. And I compared it directly with the 2.8 version for sharpness, and honestly, the difference is negligible at most focal lengths, and it's certainly not enough of a factor that sharpness would ever be a reason why I would go for one of these lenses over the other. Both lenses are just excellent. But you can download the raw files from that comparison if you want to have a look for yourself, or you can go check out the full video. The same can be said for stabilization or autofocus, because both are unbelievably great on both of these lenses. So again, not a reason that I would pick one over the other. So other than aperture, the performance of both these lenses is just so similar. And of course, price is a big reason too, and this one is obvious, but I think it's definitely worth saying. In the UK, you can grab the 70-200 F4 for under £1,000 sometimes, especially used on sites like eBay. Whereas the 2.8 version, even the original one, which is a bit older now, is at least double that. So unless you really need that extra stop of light, the F4 version is just much better value. You're getting 90 to 95% of the performance at half the price and in a smaller package as well. Before we move on to the next reason, I need to let you know that this video is sponsored by Squarespace. As a photographer, having a website to showcase your work is a must in my opinion, and Squarespace just makes it easy because there's no coding or design skills needed. It's all pretty much just drag and drop. And now, Squarespace even have amazing AI tools like Design Intelligence or Blueprint AI, which can help you create a personalized website in just a few clicks. And of course, the fully customizable photo galleries are just perfect for showing off your portfolio. Squarespace also has fantastic e-commerce tools that make setting up an online store a breeze. And this means that you can start selling in no time and handle many different payment types seamlessly thanks to Squarespace payments. So if you're ready to get started, head on over to squarespace.com/jamesreader and use code jamesreader for 10% off your first domain or website. And on the subject of cost, I want to talk about a trap that I think a lot of us fall into, especially if you're active online, on YouTube, or in the photo community in general. I think there's this psychological or sometimes professional pressure to always buy the pro version of gear, and I have definitely been there. I used to own way more lenses than I needed, and looking back, it was mostly because I kind of felt like I should have them. Probably partly because I'm on YouTube, and partly because of that underlying pressure to buy the best. And that pressure could come from YouTubers like me, from forum boards, or other pro photographers. A few years ago, I actually made a video called RF Setups or something like that, and it was supposed to be a kind of what's in my backpack video. And honestly, looking back at it now, it's just kind of embarrassing because I owned everything. And the reality was that I didn't even really use half of it anywhere near as much as I should. And these days, I've sold off a lot of my more expensive lenses, and I get way more joy from gear that is more practical and light and actually fits my shooting style. So if you're building out your kit, take it from somebody who has made this mistake many times. Buy for your needs, or at least try to, and don't buy for your ego or for what social media convinces you should want. Now, ignoring all of that, to be clear, there is definitely still a place for the F2.8 version, of course. If you're shooting events or sports, wildlife, anything in low light in particular, then that extra stop of light that the 2.8 version gives you can be crucial, because it's going to let you keep your shutter speed up and your ISO down. The same goes for wedding shooters, when you're working indoors, or people who just need every bit of performance possible. And if that is you, then you probably already know if you need the F2.8 version. But for everybody else, I think that the F4 version is more than enough. So that's it. I've been loving the 70-200 f4, so I thought I'd share my experience with this lens, and honestly, I'm finding myself using it so much more often than I ever used the 2.8 version. And I think that this lens is easily one of the best lenses on RF mount, full stop. But I'm interested to see if Canon release something that bridges the gap between these lenses, maybe something like a small budget 70-180 2.8, because that would be pretty cool to see. But what do you guys think? Would you go for the 2.8 or the F4 version? Let me know in the comments below. But that is it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.